Hey guys, Rob Avis here. Just thought I'd take a little walk today. Winter is almost here. It's crazy. It's been a really strange year for weather. We had a really long, cold winter, and then spring took a long time to get here, and that created some interesting challenges and has opened my eyes up as a designer. A lot of our precipitation came in the form of snow when usually it would come in the form of rain, which meant that the ground was frozen, and when water would normally infiltrate in the form of rain, it just kind of ran off. And so that meant that our soils were quite a bit drier going into summer. Then we had a really hot summer, and we hit 40 degrees in some parts of Canada that would never typically get that hot. And so that made it really challenging, but also in some ways, some of our crops did really well because of that extra heat. And now we've got a really early winter. So frost came as early as August 23rd in some parts of the province. We've largely avoided the frost just because we live in a city, so we have urban heat island effect. And so there's some interesting design opportunities with this extreme kind of version of winter, spring, summer, and now fall. And I just wanted to talk about those today in this video. So number one, because climate is always variable, probably always has, and some years are going to be more variable than others. Humans tend to think and at least report their weather in averages, and so we can tend to get really concerned when things fall outside of the average, but in reality almost everything is outside of the average. And so this really makes the case for storages of food, storages of water, storages of thermal energy. And that's in essence what we're trying to do with permaculture design. So when we think about rainwater harvesting is the storage of water for later use. So when we've got tanks full of water that have the ability to capture more water or capture the water that comes in a rain event, that allows us to spread the load essentially over a longer period of time, then it kind of negates the extremes essentially. Another way to store rainwater is in snowdrifts. So when we're creating snow harvesting opportunities with things like snow fence or shrub layers or fences like this one, we're storing snow for later use, which can be put to productive use especially if we can retard the melt of snow. Passive solar greenhouses, if designed properly, are storages of thermal energy, and they moderate the climate. So extreme springs, summers, and falls can be mitigated by the creation of structures that help us to balance out the extremes. And then food storages, larders, even storages in plants or perennials, either in the ground, in what we have referred to in the past as living larders. I've got a whole blog on that on Medium if you want to check that out. The concept of living larders are food storages so that when you have good years or bad years, you've got a redundant supply of food essentially, which reduces the risk of running out. And so this is exactly the way that ecosystems function. Ecosystems function in storages, and they have unique ways of storing that energy. Perennials store energy in roots, as one example. Animals store energy in fat, which is kind of funny that we spend so much time demonizing fat on our bodies. Fat is actually a really valuable organ. It's just that the way that we currently eat means that we're not really functioning with the way that fats are meant to be used on our body anyways, but we can save that for another video. And so when we look at most present day agriculture and human habitat, everything is designed to be just on time natural gas, just on time electricity, just on time food. And those ideas work when you have the ability to have this pretend endless amount of those resources that seem to just show up miraculously when you need them. But as we approach peak oil, as our aquifers start to run out, as we deforest the planet and our weather becomes more extreme, those sorts of philosophies for supplying our needs will not be possible. And it can lead to things like freezing in the winter, starvation, running out of water in the middle of summer, which will hinder our ability to grow food. And this is one of the best things that permaculture can help to address if we just take some time and get some design right. So hopefully you found that interesting. Whenever we have problems like this, I think the take-home message is that the problem is always a solution. And that's one of the core benefits of working with permaculture design. Thoughts on this, you can leave comments in the section below. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And if you found this useful, give me a like. Okay guys, we'll see you in the next video.